I had to do one more. Mariners win 13-1. They improved to 19-12 on the season, and they've taken the first of a 3-game set against the Texas Rangers. Go over the scoring plays. Nothing happens for the first 3 innings, at least in terms of scoring, but then Big Dumper just destroys a Jack Leiter pitch to make it 1-0. Oh, but Big Dumper ain't done, because the next inning, bases loaded, bases ain't loaded anymore. A grand slam to make it 5-0, and the Mariners aren't done in this inning. No, sir, heck no at all. Or ma'am, heck no at all. Rowdy Tellez singles to center to score Randy Arozarena, 6-0. Ben Williamson doubles to right to score Rowdy Tellez, 7-0. And Rylan Thomas, congrats on your first ribby, buddy. A sacrifice fly to left to score Mastroboni, 8-0. They ain't done. 6th inning. Julio Rodriguez, just, that baseball had a family. Well, it had a family, because it's 10-0 with a 2-run homer that went 431 feet, and that feels off by about 75,000 feet, give or take. It's 10-0 in the end of 6, or the middle of 6, and then 10-0 at the end of 6. And why not get 3 more in the 9th? Rylan Thomas gets another RBI on a grounder to second, and then J.P. Crawford doubles home too. 13-0. It's not a shutout, unfortunately. Josh Smith homers off Troy Taylor in the 9th to make it 13-1. I had to do one more. It just didn't feel right, because I did the recap on Sunday of the Marlins game, and then I gave you the video Monday telling you what was happening. But I felt like I had to do one more. And what a perfect way to end the recaps. What a perfect way. And for those who missed it, recaps aren't going away. They're just going somewhere else. I'm going to be doing them with my buddy, Locked On Sports. Well, Locked On Sports is kind of my buddy. Anders Hurst is my buddy, and we will be doing it on Locked On Sports, and we are super excited. We're going to get started at some point next week, it looks like. But what a perfect way. The times I had the most fun on this channel, we're talking about blowout wins and devastating losses. Those are the 2 times I had the most fun talking about this. And, you know, devastating losses are devastating for a reason, but catharsis can be fun. Catharsis can be entertaining, and I hope I entertained you, and I hope I can entertain you going forward with Locked On. I'm super duper excited. Did I mention that? The only negative tonight is I'm kind of worried about Troy Taylor. He looks more like an up and down arm. I was hoping for more than that. And, you know, look, he did okay in his previous couple of outings, but there's a lot of hard contact and the command isn't there. I think he might need more work in Tacoma. I was kind of hoping he was going to be a medium leverage guy, maybe even a high leverage guy. I don't think that's happening in 2025. Still a very bright future. I'm not so sure that it's going to happen in 2025. Hope I am wrong. You know what I'm never wrong about? Saying thank you to Simply Seattle, because they have the very best in Seattle sports gear. Great stuff for the Mariners. I just got this very cool hat from them, and a bunch of other stuff from the Kraken, the Seahawks, the Supersonics, the Huskies. You can find it all at Simply Seattle. A bunch of cool Tacoma Rainier stuff, by the way. And you can save 15% off your order, MOLLYWHOP15. Great deal, great people. Thank you so much, Simply Seattle. I'm torn on what I really want to talk about here. How much do I want to talk about how great this game was and how much I just want to hug all of you? Because, yeah, I've still got the channel going. I'm not going to be a complete dunce, as much as most of my family would disagree with you. I'm not going to be a complete dunce and say, you guys are here for everything. A lot of you are here for these daily recaps. A lot of you. It's certainly the selling point of the channel when I was promoting it. You know, when I was going on the radio and saying, hey, come check out Mile Y. It wasn't for prospect rankings. It wasn't for my thoughts on the NFL draft. And I've given you all of that. It was that I was going to recap every single Seattle Mariner game on Mile Y. And most of you have been totally understanding. Very few of you, in fact, have not been. You've been, hey, I really like this channel. I really wish the recaps were going. at the worst. So I really appreciate that because I kind of thought there would be some blowback, but there hasn't been. Not really. So I really appreciate it. Let's talk about the game. Okay. Brian Wu is awesome. His stuff and command was so good tonight. 12 swings and misses generated, 8 strikeouts, just the one hit allowed in 6 and a third inning. 6 and a third innings, excuse me. Phenomenal. And I think you can argue right now. In fact, I probably would, with all due respect to Luis Castillo, who shoved in his last outing. Bryce Miller has shown really nice moments. He can't get deep into games right now. I think Brian Woo's your staff ace right now. Now, as soon as Gilbert comes back, and I hope they say late May, when he comes back in the middle of June is what I hope. That's more of a realistic timeline to me, but who knows? He's your ace. I think Brian Woo's the number one right now. I think right now it's Wu, Castillo, Miller, and then Hancock and Evans and Hancock. I prefer Hancock. That's just me, but long story short, Brian Wu. And this was great to see because he has scuffled against this team. Now, I also will not be a complete dunce and acknowledge that the Texas lineup right now sucks out loud. Holy crap on a cracker. That is a bad offensive baseball team right now with some talented players, to be sure, but they stink. I joked on the series preview that they turned into the Seattle Mariners so fast that nobody noticed because their pitching's been fine. Now, it wasn't great tonight, obviously, but their offense is just atrocious. But that doesn't mean that Brian Wu wasn't spectacular tonight. And a really nice job for Trent Thornton as well. 1 2/3 innings of scoreless baseball. Kept your bullpen fresh. You got all your high leverage guys going for Saturday, and they can work back to back now for Sunday. The offense, JP Crawford just continues to hit. It's been so fun to watch JP Crawford play at the 2023 level. This is better than the 2023 level. You kidding me? This is a whole different level. Another 2 hits. The 2 RBI, sure, they come when you're up by a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal, but still counts. Whether it makes it 3-0 or 13-0, still counts. It's still great to see offensive success because we just didn't see it last year. Jorge Polanco gets on twice. Mitch Garver as a pinch hitter gets on twice. Randy gets on twice. 3 hits tonight from Rowdy Tellez. And he was due to have some hits drop. No question about it. But that's just so nice to see some offensive success. The bottom of the order, once again. Tellez, 3 for 5. Mastroboni, 2 for 5. Ben Williamson, 2 for 5. And I'll talk about him again in a second. And then Rylan Thomas looked comfortable at the plate. Looked more than comfortable at the plate. Gets his first hit. Drives in a couple of runs. 4th outfielder type at best, but nice to see. And the fact they called him up over Dom Canzone and over Cade Marlowe, maybe that's a little bit of an insult to those 2 guys, but it's also, I think, a compliment to Thomas. So a very, very nice big league debut for him. Julio just clobbered that baseball. And I just had it in front of me and I exited it. Why not make an error in the final one? Perfect. I think his 5th homer last year was June 12th. It was definitely in the middle of June. So seeing him have some pop in the early portion of the season, guys, maybe this is just what Julio Rodriguez is in terms of starts, that he's just not going to be a guy who gets off to great starts. Well, in 2 of his 3 full seasons, he has been a top 10 MVP vote getter. So I can deal with some slow starts. Last year, the numbers look so much worse because of some bad homer luck. And I'm not saying Julio Rodriguez doesn't need work. Let me be a Julio apologist for one more game recap here, and I'll do it again for Locked On Sports. But man, his His ceiling is just spectacular. Ben Williamson's catch before we get to Big Dumper. That's one of the best defensive plays I've seen in a long time. And we've seen some really good defense from the Mariners. Really good defense this year. Something I questioned, but it's certainly been improved by adding Ben Williamson. That's a special play. We have not given Ben Williamson nearly enough credit for how good he's been with the glove. And he's been more than fine with the bat. If he hits like this all year, the Mariners are going to be okay. The Mariners are going to be okay if this is what they're getting from their 7th or 8th hitter. I'm just so impressed too with back to Mastroboni and Williamson and Rivas. I'm just so impressed with the quality of at bats they have. And I talked about this on Blue Sky. Yes, Edgar deserves a lot of credit. Kevin Seitzer deserves credit too. Now, a lot of you responded with, no, the real credit just goes to firing the analytical dorks. If you think Atlanta, where Kevin Seitzer spent 10 years, isn't a bunch of analytical dorks, you don't know what you're talking about. There's still analytics happening here, and there always will be. But Edgar and Seitzer have done clearly a fantastic job, at least over this first fifth of the season, of simplifying the game, making it a don't swing at bad pitches. When you get your pitch, jump on it. And you know who's done the best job of that? Big Dumper. And look, Jorge Polanco's year is better than Dumper's offensively. Defensively, obviously not being able to play defense affects that, but he didn't look great at third base. But Jorge Polanco, the work they have done with Jorge Polanco cannot be understated. But Big Dumper is just, I know I've said this on at least 1 mile wide. He's going to win an MVP someday. He's going to have a good enough offensive season with that defense behind the plate. And a lot of people argue with me about how his defense is going to sour. I get it. I disagree wholeheartedly. He just works too hard. He works too hard for that to happen. Yeah, framing's a big part of it. It's not the only part of it. I wish the pitchers were doing a better job of holding runners so Big Dumper had more of a chance to throw out guys. But man, 12 homers now, which puts him on pace for 60, which isn't going to happen. But is 40 possible? What can you say? I cannot overstate how important it was to get that contract extension done. And, there's a lot of people who like to say, well, once they sign that contract extension, they're not motivated anymore. Bull crap. And take a look at what Big Dumper's doing with his money now. Hmm. I'm gonna miss this because look, I've always been really honest with you guys. The format we're doing for Locked On Sports is really cool, but it's different than this, and understandably so. Understandably so, and I would argue that the format they have is better for long-term success. But there has been something about for the last 360 something games, almost exactly a year of games, I think. Maybe a little more. I don't know. There's been something about me just getting in front of this microphone, making sure it's plugged in at least 75% of the time, hitting record on StreamYard, seeing that duck in the corner, and just chatting with you. And I don't picture anyone that I'm chatting to, but every once in a while I'll say something and think, oh, Justin Treacle's going to like that one. Brian McConnell's going to like that one. So many others of you. My buddy Bill Dahl, he's going to like that one. And to build a personal relationship with people at a time where building personal relationships has been so hard. I can't remember the last real friend I made. There are certainly people I chat with, and I've built online relationships. And look, we're all pretty much online friends. I've met a handful of you at different events, but there's been a connection, hasn't there? And I want to keep that connection going with these recaps, hopefully doing more chats, especially for my subscribers. I'm so sorry that I haven't done more. And look, I have a pretty good excuse. I have cirrhosis and I have a growth in my head. It's been hard. But I want to build more of that. And I know I can. But I also acknowledge it'll be a little more difficult not doing these. This is just me rambling now. But 17 hits tonight. 17 hits, 3 homers, just the 3 walks. And I kind of thought they were going to have to draw more free passes to have success against Leiter today. Nope. 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 Great game. One of my favorites. The 14-0 game was fun, but it came against the NL East, right? That was against the Marlins, right? If it wasn't, who cares? This is against your division rival, one of your biggest competitors for the AL West throne, and you just throttled them. And guarantee a winning week, which is cool too. I just thank you guys so much for watching these. And I beg, maybe, nope, it's not. It's the right word. I beg you to please check out what we're going to be doing over on Locked On. And I beg you to please continue to watch these series previews and a bunch of other stuff that'll be on this channel. My goal is to make this a daily channel over the summer. I don't know if I can do it or not, but it's my goal. Even if it's just like 15 minutes of ranting and raving about something. I'm a little emotional. It's kind of sad that this is the last one I'm going to do like this. But I'm really glad I did it. I'm really glad I didn't end it the way I was planning on ending it. And it was so hard not to go live for the Angels games. Are you kidding me? But we got one. We got one more. And I think I'm going to go cry. I love you.